Hi, I'm Andrew Walsh of DaytonVistas.com and the author of Lost Dayton, Ohio. In a previous video, I covered the Great Flood of 1913, which caused huge damage to the core of the city of Dayton. But for one district on East 3rd Street, from St. Clair to Jefferson, fire, not the floodwaters, was the more destructive force. But it was rebuilt with new grand structures in the next couple of years, demonstrating Dayton's spirit of resilience. And I think that same spirit has also been on display in recent years, as a major redevelopment has again given this district new life after it had fallen largely vacant. So let's dig a little deeper into this history. So, first, to set the context, we'll be looking at the district around East 3rd Street, just a couple blocks east of Main Street downtown. And in the later decades of the 19th century, this area consisted of smaller buildings, 2 to 4 stories tall, many built with wood frame construction, which will be important in a moment. Here is the north side of the street in those years, and this is what the south side of East 3rd looked like. These buildings housed a variety of retail and small industrial firms, such as the Irvin Paint and Glass Company, which offered everything from mixed paints to plate glass and mirrors, and began as an offshoot of the Lowe Brothers Paint Company, which occupied multiple locations nearby and will also be an important part of this story. Another business was the Kimmel Seed and Hardware Company, and restaurants, a bowling alley, and a theater known as the Star Theater occupied other storefronts. Times were good for this district until late March of 1913 when the flood hit. This image shows 3rd Street just a couple blocks east. And later, at the northwest corner of 3rd and St. Clair, a gas explosion caused the Burkhart and Rotterman drugstore to burst into flames. Fire spread quickly, aided by spilled paint in the Lowe Brothers paint store catching fire, and flames soon swallowed the entire block that consisted of those wood frame buildings that were highly vulnerable to fire. The impact of the flood as a whole was tremendous citywide, but due to the combination of flood and fire, this block was the most devastated. But Dayton quickly responded by building new, larger commercial buildings to replace the ones that were lost. Some of Dayton's most notable business leaders commissioned these structures made with brick and fireproof construction methods, symbolizing a strong and resilient Dayton that would fight back from adversity. These leaders included Adam Shantz Jr., Robert Dickey, and the Sims, Huffman, and Harries families. A large new building known as the Huffman Block was built on the north side of the street in 1915. It was lauded as one of the handsomest and most complete structures of its kind in the city, and as near fireproof as modern construction can make possible. Another source said it was a monument to the engineer's skill, and that the facing of the structure, a fancy red brick, gives it an imposing and pleasing appearance. Its counterpart on the south side of the street was the Dicky Building, built a couple of years later, which is somewhat similar in its size and general style. And this district is now on the National Register of Historic Places. Its nomination form states that its main architectural theme is the functional looking commercial style buildings constructed to give utilitarian space to a variety of small enterprises. And East 3rd between Jefferson and St. Clair includes the city's best examples of these simple commercial style buildings. So the Huffman and Dickey buildings are the major ones in this category, but a few more finely detailed structures sprung up post-flood here as well. So the most classically styled is the Elks building, just next to the Dickey building, which also serves as a gateway to the district from the west. This Georgian revival style structure was designed by Albert Pretzinger, who also did the old Dayton Daily News building and many others around the city. The name comes from the fact that it was built for the Benevolent and Protective Order of Elks, and a penthouse apartment was added in the 1960s when the building was owned by Dave Hall, who later became mayor of Dayton. The district also contains the city's only example of the Gothic commercial style, the Johnson and Watson commercial building, shown here, which today houses the Oriel Studios apartments. Now, some tellings of the fire block story seem to suggest that the district was completely torched and rebuilt, but that's not entirely accurate, as for one, a pair of buildings survived the fire and have been able to live on to the present day. The buildings at 134 to 36 and 138 East 3rd were built circa 1865. This image that we also saw earlier depicts the scene just a few years later in 1872. And as of 1875, 136 East 3rd was occupied by the W. Sander Central Wine Depot, which advertised foreign and domestic wines, liquors, bottled lager beer, English ale, and porter. Its business neighbor in 1875 was the Lowe Brothers Paint Company at 134 East 3rd, which we've already mentioned a couple times in this story. So when the district was ravaged, you can see that these buildings were still standing. And today, these seemingly ordinary structures actually hold some significance. They are likely the oldest commercial buildings in the central business district, beating out the larger Coons building, built in 1882, and a couple other candidates like the building housing Stage Door on Jefferson Street, which has been more significantly altered since. So it may be somewhat surprising that 1865 is actually the oldest, and also that there aren't a lot more buildings like this left downtown. So to be clear, there are older downtown houses, as well as older commercial buildings in the Oregon district that date back to the 1850s. And this type of structure was previously the dominant element of the downtown streetscape. But because of a combination of urban renewal and demolition for parking, Dayton's central business district has barely any of this type of 1800s commercial structure still standing, which is an oddity for a city of any size. A great group of them was found at the 2nd Street Historic District at 2nd and Main, but that was demolished in the late 1980s for what is today the Premier Health Tower. And it's also worth noting that this was the exact same time that the current Fifth Third Tower was being built. So not only did we lose this historic district that was also on the National Register, but the new tower contributed to a glut of office space far outstripping the available demand. One building facade was saved at least, and it's now part of the RTA transit hub at 3rd and Main. So overall, these two buildings on East 3rd are a rare exception and the best downtown examples of the Italianate style today. Returning to the National Register nomination form for the Fire Blocks District, it states that Dayton is a city that has been subjected to massive demolition of its cultural resources, but the East 3rd Street streetscape has retained much of its architectural integrity. But unfortunately, the area would suffer a more gradual decline during the later decades of the 20th century, along with much of the rest of downtown, leading to its mostly vacant status before the current redevelopment project that took quite a while to come to fruition. The $100 million plan was announced in 2017 to redevelop several buildings, including the Elks, Huffman Block, and Dicky buildings, which we've seen, but progress was slow, and historic tax credits that were won were threatened to be revoked if the developers could not show sufficient evidence of financing. The redevelopment was eventually taken over by the Windsor companies, and the first apartments finally opened in 2020. Many ground floor tenants have also opened recently, including multiple restaurants and retail businesses, and I like to think that all the efforts going on right now to revitalize Dayton are channeling some of the same spirit that helped Dayton bounce back from the historic flood. So that's it for today, and I've written about the history of other buildings in the Fireblocks area for my website DaytonVistas.com, like the Price Stores building that was covered up by aluminum cladding for decades. I also did a deep dive on that Gothic commercial style building I showed in the video. So you can check those out on my website, where you can also learn more about my book, Lost Dayton, Ohio. And finally, to stay updated on my work and also be the first to learn about any speaking events and new book projects, you can join my newsletter at DaytonVistas.com/newsletter. These links will be in the description as well. So that's it for today, and hope to see you next time.